Now, it was poised as a silver bullet to Kenya's perennial problems, a form of governance aimed at bridging the gap between the government and the governed, taking services to the doorsteps of millions. More than a decade later, has devolution lived up to the expectation Kenyans had? We speak to Kisumu Governor, Professor Anyang Nyong'o, who joins us on the broadcast. Good evening, Prof, and thank you very much for making time for us tonight, Governor. Prof, you can hear me?
I can hear you, Abu. Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much for making time for us tonight, Prof. In 2010, Kenya promulgated a progressive constitution which birthed the devolved system of governance. More than a decade later, in your own assessment as a governor now, what would you say are the successes or otherwise of devolution?
I think one of the biggest successes of devolution is that it has brought government closer to the people. Following the 2010 constitution, which created devolved units, 47 of them in the whole nation. Remember at independence, we had Majimbo, which created provinces as the closest governing framework for the people. But devolution has done better. We have created 47 institutions, which make services closer to the people, make people participate more in decision making, and make services delivered even faster. Now, of course, quite often one of the shortcomings of giving these services is the resources available. I think that the discourse that we shall continue to have with the national government, it is not something that can be solved overnight. We can do it continuously. But before I go further, Abu, I'd like to express very sincere and very, very sincere condolences to the families who lost loved ones yesterday in a terrible road accident in Kisumu. And after that accident, I remember that we have had many more accidents at that particular corner on the road from Kakamega to Kisumu. And while I send condolences to the families and friends, I would also like to urge the national government, Kenya National Highways Authority, to relook at the structure of that road so that we can redesign it anew and avoid future such terrible accidents. This was not the first accident that has occurred on that road. There are many more before, and it's high time that we acted quickly and did something to avoid future tragedies like that.
Fair enough, Governor, and our thoughts go to the 80 people who are affected through those road accidents. The Ministry of Transport has confirmed at least 80 Kenyans died across the country in the last 4 days. Prof, we are talking of devolution. You say this was an aim to bring services closer to the people. Services on one hand, Prof, but many are equally questioning this is a bloated system of governance that Kenyans are heavily paying for.
I don't think that's a correct interpretation of devolution, quite rightly, quite seriously. I mean, if you just do a calculation on what government cost before devolution, I don't think you could say that now it's much more costly than before. I think people never speak from facts. They speak from impression. And I don't think that is correct. What I know as the governor of the county Kisumu is that funds coming to the counties, as approved by the Auditor General, are very, very carefully evaluated, so that the Auditor General establishes that the funds coming are for specific purposes, and counties are expected to account for those funds. And the counties are done very well in accounting for the funds. What is never addressed, however, is
you say this is not factual. The Auditor General report year after year paints a picture of counties carefree using the money, isn't it? For instance, on the specifics on corruption and misuse, counties with legal expenditures running to the billions of shillings, travel expenditures equally running to the billions of shillings.
Well, I'll tell you, in terms of over expenditure, it is not the same in all counties, by the way. And I think generalizing sometimes is very dangerous. In any case, if you look at the loss in the national government, it's even more atrocious. What we should do as two levels of government is to make sure that government, whether at the national county level, uses resources responsibly, accountably and responsibly, so that we don't continue to have reports from the Auditor General coming up with such discoveries as misuse of resources. I don't condone misuse of resources, but I say at the same time that funds brought to the counties in general have been used to improve services, bring services closer to the people, and the outcome of what the counties have done over the last couple of years during devolution is much better than the record of the national government before in delivering services at the local level.
Governor, for a Kenyan watching this